Hey, I'm Stefania.
And I'm Tash.
Today we did lingerie activism in the city of Melbourne. We can talk all about that.
So you've just done that. You did more of that today then? The actions?
Yes.
Damn. Okay. Awesome.
That we were in.
So this stream now definitely isn't safe for work. So that's good. How was it then? So what were you doing? Like, tell us about what were you doing today, and tell us, about how it went.
Yeah, so we were both dressed in just lingerie out in the city of Melbourne today, and we had a few other activists join us today. So we also did it a few days ago just by ourselves, and we realized, wow, this is extremely effective because everyone wants to take photos of us and photos with us. This is a great opportunity to have some outreaches, because we're bringing in a lot of attention with, what we're wearing, and having some of our signs a little bit humorous as well, obviously with a serious animal rights message. We literally had, a group of people just standing, taking photos of us basically at all times.
Pretty continuously.
What were the signs? Can you show us, did you have any signs with you that you can show us that you had?
Get them. Where do we put them?
You can go get them.
Yeah, you hold the conversation going.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, she'll go get signs. So we thought, we'd have some signs that are really humorous, like eat pussy, not animals. I made one last night, plant-powered penises last longer.
Oh my God.
We only fuck vegans.
What was that last one, sorry?
We only fuck vegans.
Oh my God. Shit.
Yeah, everyone loves it. Because I've been wearing eat pussy, not animals shirt for a long time now, and even just walking down in the street wearing that shirt, people will come up to me and they want photos with it. Like, it's an amazing conversation starter. They like that message, they laugh at it, and they want photos with it. And I think putting a bit of humor in really kind of breaks the ice, and then you can start a serious conversation about animal rights.
Yeah,
people appeared to be more open because I guess we were sort of breaking the ice because of the way we're dressed, and maybe the humorous messages we had as well.
I can imagine, compared to what you normally do. Brilliant. Oh my God, look at that. Wow. That's so funny. That's so cool. You know what's so good about that is I can imagine, Tash, you're so used to the real, really pissing people off. I can imagine this made so many people smile. It must be so nice for you to experience something a bit different.
I know, there was barely any negativity today. It was a very refreshing experience. And it was just, as I was saying, amazing, the response from the public. They wanted to talk about veganism. They were holding signs as well, having photos with us. They wanted to hold the signs. And I said, this is crazy. No one wants to hold a vegan message, but here we are having so many people wanting to have a photo with us and hold up a sign.
Yeah, so we had some more series too.
Okay, yeah.
And then
nice. That's I love that message. It's really difficult to get the word breastfeeding in on a sign, so you've done well there. I've thought about that before. You've done really good, because trying to put it into a sign that looks snappy, it's I've tried writing it before, and I end up getting to the end of it, and I'm like, there's no way this is gonna look good on the sign. So that's really good that you fit that on. I think it's a really powerful word to have in there, right? Because people are like, what do you mean breastfeed? Oh yeah, I am actually. Shit. It's like, whoops. So Stefania, you are clearly you do this a lot. You're used to being in your birthday suit and having people look at you and point cameras at you and stuff like that. But Tash, how has it been for you to be doing your usual activism, and I know you've done, painted yourself, but this is a whole other thing, right? This is trying to look, well, not trying, you do a good job of, this is going out looking attractive, sexy. How has it been for you switching to that instead of, you use nudity in other ways, but this is a totally different vibe, isn't it? How's it been for you getting into that?
Yeah, well, going back just a few months now, I wouldn't have imagined myself to be doing anything like this. I mean, I've always been pretty confident in my body, but when it comes to, I mean, I've never worn lingerie in my life until a couple of months ago.
Right.
And I never would have imagined to feel comfortable wearing this or even being topless. And I think actually it's probably starting an OnlyFans account that has allowed me to kind of push the barriers, and I feel very empowered and confident in my body now because, yeah, just a couple of months ago, I just couldn't be topless in front of everyone, and there we were like a few days ago, you know, freeing the nips out in the streets.
She didn't want to put her bra back on. She's like, no, I'm just going to stay free.
I'm loving it. It's awesome.
There's a lot of power in sexuality, and if you've got the opportunity to use it in a powerful way as well, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, the free the nip movement is obviously very important, but we're incorporating that to free the nip for all species, so we can interlink that with, you know, what's happening in the dairy industry.
Yeah,
and I think that's a really powerful thing, like with the message "free all nipples."
Yeah, I've seen you posting that and using that to. It's kind of nice to take a movement that people are already kind of aware of, and then open up the scope of it and say, actually, hey, have you thought about this too? I think that's really clever. It seems like almost like you guys have, it's good that you're working together, because I know, Stefania, with you, your previous concern was not feeling so maybe confident, quite confident enough to get out there and really go animal rights, go hard on it, even though you were going hard online. But, you know, a concern, for example, coming on the live stream with me was that you weren't 100% sure, like, to say the right things. And then Tash, for you, you know, maybe meeting Stefania has helped you be more confident in doing this side of activism. So this is like a great dream team, really, isn't it? You kind of match each other's stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because really I remember seeing her things over a year and a half ago, because my dad sent them to me because he had seen a protest she'd done in Coles at Christmas time, and he sent it to me and he said, look how cool this chick is. And so I looked her up and I thought, this is amazing. How does somebody have the ability to go out there and speak like that? But here she is doing it. And so I found it incredibly inspiring, and I always wanted to be able to do that. And it wasn't until Tash came to Melbourne 2-3 weeks ago that I finally managed to get the courage. And it's so easy, you know, with her by my side, and hopefully something I can keep doing.
The only thing I could even say that would be similar to what you're doing would be like some of the work maybe by Pamela Anderson, and how she like is really like using her body and image to really push a message. And I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's tough, and it must be really, it's a lot of pressure to go out and do that. Have you seen anything like this before? Were you inspired by someone else that made you think, let's go and do exactly what we're doing now? Or did you just come up with it yourselves?
Well, yes, Steph came up with the idea.
I'm in lingerie or half naked most of the time. So to me, it's just, I do it in the street sometimes for brands and things. So I'm just like, well, why not protest in lingerie too? I mean, if we're using our bodies and our self-expression to sell lingerie, why can't we use it to sell the animal rights message too, like as a model?
And what would you say to the people? So that, I mean, there's going to be no shortage of people who are going to be maybe vegans too, probably vegans too, who are going to be using the, you know, the usual, whoa, this is sexist. This is not acceptable. You can't talk about animal rights in this way. This is not, you know, have you had that? And if so, like, how have you been responding to it?
Yeah, we've had obviously a lot of positive comments about it and a lot of support, but yeah, there's always going to be those people saying, this isn't how you do activism. You should be out there fully clothed, holding a screen, showing what's happening inside these industries. In my opinion, this is a lot more effective, because if we were out there in clothes with holding a television screen, would we have hundreds of people taking photos of us and wanting to come and hold the television screen too? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
This is just an amazing approach to activism, because so many people want to come in and see the message. And as I said before, the outreach conversations were definitely a lot more successful than the cube of truth. And obviously both come hand in hand. We need both, but just saying, oh, that way doesn't work, you should be in your clothes, is just ridiculous. People should be able to wear whatever they want. I mean, if we were doing it at the beach in bikinis, I don't think people would probably have as much of an issue, but because we're suddenly wearing that type of clothing out in the city, people seem to have this big issue about it, and suddenly we're sexualizing ourselves when we're just
our body, our choice. just like it should be for the animals. It's their body, it's their choice, and we shouldn't be taking that away.
Exactly. Like, I'm not walking out there, I don't feel like I'm sexualizing myself or I'm going around, you know, objectifying myself. If anything, I feel incredibly empowered being able to do that.
But even if you were objectifying yourself or sexualizing yourself, that's what you've chosen to do. Even if that was what you were wanting to do, you go out in lingerie, and then all of a sudden, it's great that women have a choice becomes, well, you shouldn't do that. It's so weird how it changes so quickly, isn't it? It's weird. It's like they're using feminism to say this is wrong, but then they're actually arguing against feminism then by telling you what you're doing is wrong when you just done it for your own body, you know?
Well, I think they've been sort of ingrained with these ideas growing up, and it's just still hard to shake them off. It's sort of a little bit. We've got so much, I guess, culture and music and movies and stuff that still have those sorts of things going on in them, you know, old school sort of beliefs and traditions. And so even though we have come really far, I think people still can get caught up in just brainwashed basically after seeing those things and thinking, oh, this is how it should be, when there's no real way of how it should be. As long as you're not hurting anyone and you're feeling good and you're feeling empowered, it's like, what is the problem? We've made that decision. The issue, like you said earlier, you touched on it, with objectification and sexualization is when someone else makes that decision for you. And it should be from yourself. You don't have to do it, but if you feel like doing it, you should have the right to do it. And
I wanted to actually ask you, I saw, Stefania, on your Facebook the other day, someone had made a really, I don't know if you want to call it a sexist comment, but it's definitely inappropriate. He basically made one of those kind of, you're pretty when you shut up, basically, he'd said. Something like, you're really sexy when you're not protesting or something like that. How often has that happened to you since you started speaking up?
Oh my gosh, I've just I don't know.
They're such assholes, aren't they?
Just the influx of angry, bizarre, weird, projecting, deflective comments is just insane. They're in the hundreds and thousands, like on Instagram as well. And I'm just like, where did all these people come from? They're so upset. And I've had probably 20, 30,000 people unfollow me across my social media. So I've always sort of spoken about veganism a fair bit in the last year and a half, but I've always been very subtle in my approach. And now that I'm speaking really unapologetically on the issue, I have received so much backlash. But it just makes me think I just need to fight harder. Like, this is obviously such an issue in our society, and I've realised it more than ever, speaking out about it. How much people will just deny facts amazes me.
I saw that comment and I thought, I bet she's getting loads of this similar comment. Basically, you're pretty when you shut up kind of thing. That's really kind of, I guess it's sexist at the end of the day, isn't it? It's like kind of horrible man thing that some guys say. And yeah, I think ultimately you'll get a lot of unfollowers because they came to your page maybe just to look at you, and they don't like it when you all of a sudden this person they come to admire is all of a sudden making them feel guilty. I mean, that must be like a real like smack in the face, I can imagine, for someone who really idolizes you. But I don't think it's a bad smack in the face. I think it's good. And I'd say, like, I think most of these people will probably come back once they have calmed down a little bit after the shock of someone they like look at as like, oh, I really like following this person. You know, maybe when they go away and they actually think, actually, I kind of liked following that person. I liked looking at her pictures. I like the way she looks. And maybe she's got a point. I reckon they'll come back. You got to remember that the angriest ones will make the shittiest comments, and the shittiest people will make shitty comments. But I reckon you got a ton of really good people following who just stay silent. And I think that's really important for and I know, Tash, you know this for sure, but in case you hadn't considered it, Stefania, you'll have so many followers that just don't dare to say anything, and they'll be watching and listening to every single thing you post. And when that's like 1 million people and more, you'll be affecting so many people. Tash, you definitely know that from what you've been doing, right? You've been approached by people and you've been messaged by people after like months and months, and you know they followed you for months, right? And all of a sudden they're messaging you and tell us a bit about that. Like, I remember you told me on the last stream about people that just, you know, contacted you out of the blue to tell you how moved they were. And so give us a bit these stories that you've had of people reaching out to you.
Yeah, I've had it happen on multiple occasions where people have sent me incredibly nasty messages, or just in there on their comments, absolutely hating on me, like with their personal attacks, and clearly very triggered and guilty by the message that I've been conveying. And sometimes months or even years later, they've come around and settled down a bit, and I've either said I'm actually vegan now, or and you were right all along, I actually am open to this and I'm willing to go vegan. So I've had that happen quite a lot of times.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
So yeah, the biggest haters are the ones that are more triggered and more likely to actually go vegan, and that's why we shouldn't be blocking anyone. I'll never block anyone because I want them to see the message, even if they're sending me death threats or whatever they're throwing at me. I just let them stay there and be triggered, and they'll obsessively follow all my posts and continually see the animal rights message.
I used to block, delete, hide, whatever, and now since speaking out with Tash and having that ability to speak out and getting all these angry comments, there's just so many that I've had no choice but to just leave them and just give up blocking because I can't keep up with it. And there's actually quite a nice peace now because I've just accepted the fact that I don't have to block or delete or hide these people. And there's so many that I don't think my mind can even focus or process a single comment.
Yeah, maybe you could, this would probably, could work. No, it would be too mean. For you, Stefania, I think this would be too mean because I think you're too much of an influencer to do this. But Tash, you could maybe do it. You kind of do it. So I have my meat flakes of the week every week in my Face the Facts Friday, where I pick out some of the comments I've caught, not the mean ones, like, not really like nasty, horrible, but just funny ones that are a little bit silly. And then I respond to them all live. I think, Stefania, if you did that, I think, that maybe is too, I don't know if that would be so good. Unless you were being nice and gentle, I think if you were as mean as I am, you might who knows what damage you could do with because you got you're a big deal in this world. I'm only a smaller deal here, No.
I've been pulling out all the insults, all the words. I have not been holding back. I'm pretty sure I've lost contracts with some of the big brands I work with.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I just feel I think it's worth it. And so I don't think it'd be a problem, me reading them out and responding with how I genuinely feel. So
fair enough.
Hiding it, I might as well say it.
I was just thinking, because if I I don't know, see, Ricky Gervais does this too, and he's like a super star, and sometimes I notice how when he responds to people, he's not always that mean, but he is mean, and I feel like when you get to that big, which I don't think, he has 3 million on Twitter, you have 1 million on Instagram, so I know he's like a superstar, but it's not completely different. You are kind of in that bracket. I would start to be concerned if I was in that bracket. I would be concerned about someone doing something silly because I said something to them that really hurt them, and because they see me as some kind of celebrity, I would be really concerned about them being ruining their life if I were in that position. That's why I was saying for you, I don't know if you considered that. Maybe I'm just putting this to you now and you're oh fuck, maybe I've destroyed some people's lives, because people
oh my God, what have I done?
Because people obsess over celebrities, or even if they're not celebrities, people obsess over people that they deem to be up on this pedestal, right? And I've noticed Ricky Gervais tends to insult people jokingly, and I figured he does that because he's a comedian, but also because maybe he doesn't want them to go and fucking hate themselves, because if he says it, then maybe it's true, kind of thing. But I don't know if maybe I'm overestimating this. Maybe it's not as bad as I think. I mean, I'm just too I don't know, sensitive with people. I'm not in my videos because I don't think I'm at that point where they'd actually care. But maybe the ones with you, maybe they would. I don't know. That's for you to think about, not me. I'm just guilt tripped to you.
Thinking about that tonight. Say things like, oh, I idolized you so much. I looked up to you for years. I'm going to have to unfollow you now after your behavior. And I'm just okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's just, and a lot of women too. And it's guys leaving the sorts of comments we spoke about earlier. A lot of women. Tash gets targeted by women talking in forums about her, saying things that would be considered sexist, body shaming, slut shaming. It's just, they'll just grab onto anything and really target it to try and diminish you as an activist.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of, they'll look for anything they can get to try to weaken your message. Basically, this was successful today. How many? You've done it like 5 days in a row or something now, haven't you? This action. I feel like I've seen it every day.
We've just been posting it every day. We're doing it every day online. We've gone out twice now into the city, which admittedly is not that bad, but yeah, 2 times. We're out for a few hours today though, 3.5, 4 hours. Nice. We managed to give away lots of pamphlets, all the people doing outreach as well and talking to people. We got rid of all of them pretty much. We thought, oh no, we should have printed more. That's
awesome. And how about the news? I saw, I don't know, I feel like I'm always seeing Tash in the news, to be honest. So I can't remember if I've seen this story in the news yet or not. Have they covered your actions in the news yet?
No, not this one. I think it was briefly mentioned in a BuzzFeed article that was written maybe yesterday, but it was mainly focusing on my KFC protest. And then they also wrote a little thing about, what did they say? Something about the vegan clan. She's like, Tash and her vegan clan members protesting as if I like have some kind of cult.
Yeah, I'm one of her cult members.
That's awesome. That's so funny. I'm surprised Butterfield hasn't covered it yet. I thought he would have done, with you both being Australian and you know, and he knows, I mean, obviously Tash, he comes after you anyway, but I'm surprised. Do you reckon he's going to cover it?
Possibly. I mean, he did he posted a video of my KFC protest on his Instagram. So I thought he was probably going to do a story on that because everyone was going crazy over it, saying you have to do a video on it. So I was expecting him to do one on that. So I'm not sure he's going to do anything. I think he's probably going to come out as a vegan soon anyway.
You think he's a closet vegan?
Even if if he was a closet vegan, he'd never say it on his channel. He would never reveal that if he was.
Yeah. Well, I've got mutual friends in the YouTube community that have gone to dinners with him, and apparently he always orders vegetarian.
Really? That's interesting. That's interesting.
I find him horrible. I think he is just a revolting human being. And I've got a family member in high school here in Australia, and they'll mention Isaac Butterfield in their defense of eating animals.
Right.
So he's managed to have a whole horde of children here in Australia admire him, look up to him, and use him as, you know, this anti-vegan icon. So he's just no respect for that person at all.
Yeah.
People are actively participating and abusing animals every day. So this is a habit they're in already. And so they're looking for reasons and places to divert the attention to make themselves feel better about their continual habits.
Yeah.
So, and he's presenting himself as like, look me, I am the icon of anti-veganness. Use me to defend it, to defend your habit.
He has to hold some responsibility for people going out and attacking Tash because he is positioning himself as an opponent of hers, right? And he is saying things about her and yeah, it's kind of, but you're totally right.
If you're not vegan, you are contributing to the biggest injustice known to history and the largest Holocaust in history. So you don't want to be an animal abuser. You need to be vegan now. And please go to don'twatch.org to see the truth and the atrocities that you are contributing to.
And my biggest regret is not going vegan sooner. So don't make it your biggest regret too.
I really can't wait to see what you guys are going to get up to next.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. See you later.
Yeah.